In this lesson, we're going to solve one-step equations. So we're only going to use one step to get the variable. Remember that we want to get the variable by itself, so we need to get rid of everything else that is with the variable. So in the first one, I want to get r by itself. So I like to draw a line to separate my sides. I want to get r by itself. So that means I want to get rid of the positive 12. Even though we don't see the positive, we know it's positive. So the opposite would be negative 12 or subtract 12. These are opposites. Positive, negative, they're opposite 12s. So they cancel out, making 0. So I put like a Z through it so I know it cancels. I'm left with r, bring it down, and then 3 minus, I know it's a negative, but 3 minus 12 is negative 9. So r equals negative 9. But we got to check it to be 100% positive. So rewrite the problem, 12 plus r equals 3. And now what we want to do is we want to substitute in for r. So 12 plus, and now we said r was 9, or negative 9, I apologize, negative 9. So now what we want to do is we want to substitute negative 9 in for r, and then that should equal 3. And I do the math, 12 plus a negative 9 is 3, 3 equals 3. It checks out, so r equals negative 9 is my solution. Okay, moving on to the next one. Draw my line down. I want to get p by itself. So I got to get rid of this minus 7. We're going to add 7 to both sides. Opposites. Opposites cancel out, leaving me with 0. Leaving me with p on this side equal to negative 12 plus 7 is negative 5. Now I just got to check that. So negative 12 equals p minus 7. We're saying that p is equal to negative 5. So we're saying that p is equal to negative 5. So what I want to do is I want to substitute negative 5 in for p. So negative 5 in for p. And then do the rest of the math here. So negative 12 equals negative 5 minus 7. Negative 12 equals, when I actually do this math right here, it's negative 12. It checks out. So therefore, I am done with that question. If you have any questions, make sure that you write them down on your notes. You can ask them tomorrow morning. Okay, so the next one. This one has a fraction, all right? Little side bubble note here. It's a little thinking bubble note. I want to get 1. Notice that I canceled these out. 0, I canceled these out. I want to get the variable by itself. There's a 1 in front of these variables. We don't write them. We just know and understand them to be there. So how can I get rid of this negative 5/8? So I got to do something to this negative 5/8 so that I can get a 1. I need that to be a 1. We should know to multiply by the reciprocal. So the reciprocal flips the fraction if we have a fraction, or just changes the numerator to the denominator. So we flip the fraction, multiply by the reciprocal. So on this side, I'm going to multiply by negative 8 over 5. And on this side, negative 8 over 5. I like to keep things consistent, so I'll put a fraction, or make negative 9 a fraction. And then I look at this. If I were to multiply across the top, I get negative 40 over, or positive 40, because you can count this negative too. So I get positive 40 over, multiply across the bottom, I get 40. W equals, and then multiply here, I get 72 over 5, or because that's 1, W equals 72 divided by 5, which would be, think that out here real quick, is 14.4. Now, I want to talk about this. Normally, we will leave this as a decimal because 14 4/10 is a nice decimal. It doesn't keep going, and there's no rounding involved. When we're solving equations, the main thing that you need to remember is do not round. So if you get a decimal that keeps going, and you're going to think, oh, I'm going to round this, don't. Then leave your answer in fraction form, okay? So if you can divide it out and get a nice decimal, fine. So now let's check it. So I rewrite the problem, negative 5/8 W equals negative 9 So negative 5 over 8 times 14.4 should equal negative 9. And then when I check it in my calculator, and I will show you in class how to make a fraction on your calculator since you have different calculators. But what we do find out is that negative 5/8 times the 14.4 will give us negative 9. So negative 9 does equal negative 9. Again, if you have any questions, make sure you ask. All right, now we're going to solve multi-step. So this one includes more than one step. So you might have to add, subtract, multiply, divide more than once. So for the first one, I want to get a by itself. So I got to get rid of, first and foremost, we have to add or subtract first. I want to get a by itself, but the 3 is attached to it. So that's the last step. So we subtract 4 from both sides. This negative 3a has to come down. Those zeroed out, so they're no longer there. And a negative 14 minus 4 is negative 18. And then we divide by negative 3. Remember opposite operation? Little bubble time here, little thinking. Remember that negative 3a is the same as negative 3 times a. So the opposite of multiply is divide. And we show division by using a fraction bar. That's the biggest thing, ladies and gentlemen. That's the one thing I'm going to have to work with you on, is that solving equations have to have a step-by-step format and have to look a certain way. So we use a fraction bar to show division. We divide. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 is a, because that's 1. So we're left with a, and then equals. Negative 18 divided by negative 3 is 6. Got to check my work to make sure that I am correct. So rewrite the problem. I'll come over here. Negative 3a plus 4 should equal 14. So I'm going to multiply negative 3 times 6. This should be negative 14. I knew something was wrong there. That should be a negative 14 up there. So negative 3 times 6 plus 4 should equal negative 14. Negative 18 plus 4 should equal negative 14, and it does. Negative 14 equals negative 14, so it checks. Guys, I'm telling you, check your work. It's very, very important, because then you'll know if you have the correct answer or not. Okay, write and solve. So Julie cashed a paycheck and repaid her brother $10 that she had borrowed from him. She then spent $30 on fuel for her car and then half the remaining money on a new tent for camping. She bought a pair of running shoes for $29.45 and had $17.75 left. How much did Julie receive when she cashed her paycheck? Okay, so Julie cashed her paycheck. So we're going to let X be Julie's, should be capital J, sorry about that, Julie's paycheck. So the variable I'm going to use is X, and it's going to represent Julie's paycheck. So Julie got paid X. So there's her paycheck. That's how much money. She repaid her brother, which means she's losing $10 that she's going to give to her brother. Actually, let me back up a second here. So she repaid her brother $10 that she borrowed from him, and she spent $30 on fuel. So that's $40 that she used of her paycheck. Now, so this is her paycheck minus $40. So X minus 40 would be what is left of Julie's paycheck. So that what is left of her paycheck, the remaining money on a new tent, she spent half of that. So we're going to cut that in half. So multiply by half. That was for the tent. Minus $29.45 for her running shoes, she has $17.75 left. And then we solve. So what we can do is distribute first. So we're going to take a half times X, and we get 1/2 X. Take 1/2 times 40, so minus 20, because half of 40 is 20. Minus $29.45 equals $17.75. Then combine your like terms. So now I have 1/2 X minus 49.45. That's equal to $17.75. Then add 49, 45 to both sides. 49, 45 to both sides. So we're going to add to both sides. And then we get 1/2 x, these zero out, is equal to, when we add those together, I get $67.20. And again, I want to multiply by the reciprocal. Multiply by the reciprocal, 2 over 1 or just 2. That makes 1. 2 over 2 is 1. 1 over 1 is 1. So that tells me that x equals, and then 6720 times 2 is $134.40. And you could go through this. If $134.40 was what Julie got paid, she gave $10 back to her brother, so that was what she paid her brother, which is $124.40. Then she spent $30 on her running shoes, which would now be $94.40. Then she spent half of that, so if we cut this in half, so divide by 2, we end up with 94.40, 47.20, and then minus the running shoes, 29.45. Yeah. And then what we end up with is 17.75, so it checks out. Those are going to be difficult, but try them. Questions? Ask me during class. All right. Hiroshi is buying a pair of water skis that are on sale for 2/3 of the original price. After he uses a $25 gift certificate, the total cost before taxes is $115. What was the original price of the skis? Write an equation and then solve. Okay, so again, kind of the same thing. Hiroshi is buying a pair of water skis that are 2/3 of the original price. Okay, so we're gonna let X be original price of skis. Spell that right? No, one S or one I. Okay. So they're 2/3 of the original price. So 2/3 of the original price. He's going to use a $25 gift card. That total is $115. So what do I want to do? I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to add 25 to both sides. Those are opposites, so they zero out. Opposites are 0. 2/3 x is equal to 140. I am then going to multiply by the reciprocal 3 over 2 times 3 over 2. Make that a fraction as well if I want. 3 over 3 is 1. 2 over 2 is 1 because 6 over 6 is 1. X equals, now multiply 140 times 3. And I get 420 over 2. Divide 420 by 2 and I get $210 for my answer. And then you could go back through and then check that again and then it would work. All right, last one. Consecutive integers, just some things about using consecutive integers. So, 4 and 5 are consecutive integers. 6 and 7 are consecutive integers. So when we're talking about consecutive integers, I'm talking about like n would be one integer, n plus 1 would be the next one, and n plus 2 would be the third one. All right, so find 3 consecutive odd integers. So let's think about this for a second. Odd integers. Let's just say, for example, 1, 3, and 5. Those are consecutive because 2 is in the middle, but it's even. So 1, 3, 5. Well, what if it could be any number? Like I'm choosing 1, 3, and 5. But what if it could be any number like x? How do I go from 1 to 3? Well, I had to add 2. So to get 3, I would have to take the original number plus 2 to get the next number. Well, how would I get 5 then? Well, 1 to 5 would be add 4, so this would be x plus 4 to get to the next number. So I want 3 consecutive odd integers. 1, x, the second one, x plus 2, the third one, x plus 4, with a sum. So now I'm going to add all of this stuff together to get negative 51. So now what I want to do is I want to combine like terms. So x plus another x is 2x, plus another x is 3x. So I have 3x. And then combine my other like terms, which would be 2 plus 4 is 6. So plus 6. And then that is equal to negative 51. So now solve. Subtract 6, subtract 6. I get 3x equals negative 57. I divide by 3. And I get x equals, so that would be negative 19. Okay, so that's x. Now let's go back up here because we had x plus 2, and we had x plus 4. So if x is negative 19, the next integer would be x plus 2. So negative 19 plus 2, negative 17. And the next integer would be x plus 4, and x was negative 19. So negative 19 plus 4 is negative 15. So there's our 3 consecutive odd integers.